Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm talking about self-love and how I fell in love with myself. So this is a topic that can make some people uncomfortable. You may have even read the title of this video and felt a bit embarrassed for me. Oh my goodness, how can she write a title like that? It's kind of cringy. It's not very modest. This is really not humble, and she must have a really big ego. And I'm here to tell you that those things do not mean that you should not love yourself. Loving yourself is the most important thing that you can do. It will absolutely affect every other area of your life, and it will bring to you the life that you want and you deserve. I spent the majority of my 20s in a constant state of not being or feeling enough in my perception. I feel like a lot of the dramas and a lot of the situations I found myself in were part of my own making, because I didn't believe I was deserving enough and I didn't believe I was worthy enough. So I would attract towards me these people that were on that same wavelength. I would attract the wrong type of boyfriends, the wrong type of friends that didn't value who they were either. And then it was kind of a catch-22 situation. So I found myself in a lot of unhealthy cycles and just replaying those cycles until I got to my late 20s and especially into my 30s. And I realized, this last 8 years of my life since I've been in my 30s have been the most peaceful, the most balanced, the happiest overall, because I've finally found that place within myself where I understand what it truly means to love yourself. And I really urge all you people out there, men and women, to also embrace this part and also go on this journey and see it for what it is, which is something that's really important because it affects everything. It affects the way we perceive life, the way we perceive others, and obviously the way we perceive ourselves. So how can we go from this place of perhaps feeling that we need to work on our self-love to really embracing all the parts of us? Well, I'm going to give you some simple tips. They are very simple, but it will take time. This is a journey. This isn't something that you can force or that you can rush, because you need to do it from a place of truth. If you start, for example, affirming, because you've read affirmations are good, that you love yourself, and that's not really how you truly feel inside, then you're just going to be sending out the wrong energy to the universe, because you really need to mean what you send out. So let's start with something simple like waking up each day and focusing on the positives, the things that we're grateful for, the things that we appreciate. So when we go into an energy of gratitude, we generally raise our vibration. And once we're in a slightly higher vibration, it's easier to feel better about ourselves and our lives, even if things aren't generally how we would ultimately like them to be, okay? Because what you're going to do is you're going to shift from that lack energy into the energy of appreciation. And once we appreciate what is there, what we do indeed have, then we start to operate on a slightly higher level that raises us up. And from there, it's easier to look in the mirror and to be a little bit more positive towards yourself and how you feel about yourselves and your imperfections and your weaknesses. Now, you also need to be very mindful of how you're talking to yourself. It's easy as a woman to put on your outfit for the morning and then you catch sight of yourself in the mirror and you think, what on earth was I thinking putting these trousers on? My hips look huge. So I think we're very critical as women. So it's really important that when you're getting those thoughts come into your head, that you quickly try and find a positive about yourself to replace the negative that you've just affirmed. Now, there is also a very simple way of raising your vibration and having more love for yourself, and that is taking care of yourself. So this one was a big one for me. I mentioned that I spent many years feeling like I wasn't enough, and the one way that I personally kind of reaffirmed that to myself was constantly giving my time to others instead of myself. So I was always at the bottom of the list. I would have friends that would bring all of their issues constantly to me to help sort out. I would have clients that would constantly overstep boundaries. And there just comes a point where you need to understand that you are important. In fact, you're the most important person in your life. So putting our own needs first is super important. Do not put yourself to the back of the line. If you have a lot of demands, and we live in times where you never really get time to sit down and relax on a normal day-to-day basis, because there's so many people wanting a piece of you, or there's so many things that we all have to do. But you do need to carve out time. You do need to enjoy your hobbies. You do need to make time to do the things that make you happy. If you're constantly in this state of go, 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 you are going to slip into this energy of not being worthy enough, and it is going to have a massive impact in all areas of your life. So you actually are doing a disservice to yourself not to then put yourself at the top of the list sometimes. Another way of seeing how loving you are to yourself is to imagine that you are a friend of yourself, and look at your to-do list for that day and look at the way you're talking to yourself and think, if this was my friend stood in front of me, would I tell them to stop being so harsh? Would I tell them to say no a bit more to these demands? Would I tell them to take a step back and relax? And a lot of the time the answer would be yes, because a lot of the time we go above and beyond to help others, but it's at the expense of our own energy. So I'm not saying that you need to be super selfish. This is not the point I'm getting across, because you can love yourself and you can give so much to others at the same time. Now, another way that we can improve our self-worth, our self-love, is to be very conscious of what we're putting into our body. If you don't fully value your body, how on earth can you expect your body to work well for you? How can you expect your mind, your brain, your thoughts, your emotions to be flourishing and to be positive if all that you're putting into yourself is quite negative and low in the vibration? It's just not going to work. So you really do need to be mindful as to what you're eating. Being healthy is super important. Less alcohol, more sleep, fruits and vegetables, all of these things will raise your vibration. And some light exercise. You don't need to be running marathons or down every single spinning class at the gym, but going for a walk. If you have pets, take the dog for a walk. Anything that gets you back out in nature, that gets the blood pumping around your body, that just makes you feel alive. You need to look at all of these things that I'm saying and assess just how much effort you're putting into really doing the work of helping yourself to know that you're worthy, to know that you are somebody that deserves a good life. Because there is no rule that says we have to live a hard life. There is no rule that says we have to work every hour under the sun. Everything that we experience here is part of what we also manifest. Now, you will maybe understand that when I look into energy, I see things that are most likely to happen based on what is currently going on in that person's life and that person's energy. So you must understand that there is an element of free will. We can manifest things to come into our lives. We can help to create the life that we want, and this all happens when we raise our vibration. And the way we can use this to our best advantage is to raise our energy, be in that vibration of self-love, and therefore attract the things that are the most positive for us. So when you're in the higher energy, you don't sit within that energy, as I mentioned before, of lack or of not worthy enough. So generally the situations that you will receive, and simple things such as the money you receive, the abundance you receive, it will be tenfold compared to that than if you're sat within the lack energy. If you're in lack energy because I don't deserve this, then yeah, you're not going to have an abundance of money. You're not going to have an abundance of happiness because you're telling everything that you don't deserve this. So other ways in which you can practice self-love is just going for things that you have always maybe thought were a bit beyond your reach. And I am a great example of this because I also write books, and I always told myself I was going to be an author one day, and then there were these limiting doubts that came in. Oh, you know, I'm not really good enough to get a book deal, rah. Anyway, long story short, I've got 2 published books with HarperCollins, and I've written 3, or it might even be 4, self-published books. Yeah, I can't even remember. I've actually got about 5 other manuscripts on the go at the moment. So just go after the things that you most want in life and don't feel that they belong to somebody that isn't you. That only Oprah can achieve the chat show. Only David Beckham can be a great footballer. So don't believe that there's only certain people that can be worthy of certain positions in life. If you want to be the managing director of a company, but you feel like you're not confident enough and that you perhaps don't have the right persona to fulfill that role, well, you've just put a complete stop and block in your own path because you don't truly love who you are and appreciate that everyone has exactly the same chance to fulfill that position, but you are limiting yourself with your own preconceived ideas. Okay, so it's super important that you raise your goals and aim for where you want to go in the future. Now, what happens if you're really working on this and then you get a bad day, and that bad day comes along and knocks you for 6 and you don't like yourself that day and you don't like anything about how you're thinking or you're feeling or what you're doing and saying to people? Maybe you're just being a total bitch that day. And you know what? That's okay. We all have bad days, and the key is when emotions pop up and sort of derail us, the key is acceptance. People like to say we can avoid an emotion and just hope for the best and it will go away, and it won't. You know, it really won't. If you're having that day where it all just feels too much, just surrender. The only way out is through. If I'm feeling angry and I don't quite know why, and I'm not really in the mood to sort of go into it and figure out why, I just accept it. I say to my husband, just feel a bit off today. Sorry if I say anything. Don't take it personally. I'm just having a bad day. And that's it. Just embrace it. Embrace the emotion. Come on then, anger. Let's be done with it. And guess what? Anger goes away because you didn't resist. You accepted. So you must accept the off days. So if you start doing everything that I'm suggesting, you should start to see an improvement in your overall energy and how you feel about yourself and how you talk to yourself in your mind and aloud. And also you'll start to notice a difference in the external circumstances because the energy will bring you things that align with this new energy that you've created. So you will get more opportunities and you will start to see people being more receptive to this new vibe that you're giving out. You know, everyone loves being around the person that's happy, that's positive, that can give them that good feeling that they just exude. And that's super important, and that's really only found in people who are in love with themselves. And remember, there is nothing egotistical about loving yourself. It's the number one thing we should all be doing, and that's what you must remember too. You are enough, you are worthy, you are deserving, and you're now about to make yourself have a magnificent life. So good luck with your journey. And if you did enjoy this video today, please do just give it a like.